Getting started with the BT Speak from Blazy Technologies. Hello and welcome to this introduction to the BT Speak from Blazy Technologies. www.blazytech.com 5605 Southwest Ranchito Street, Palm City, Florida 34990. Telephone in the US is area code 772-214-1616. In the UK, +44 1642 929747. The BT Speak is a pocket-sized computer with 8-dot ergonomic braille keyboard and speech output. It is 6.1 inches or 15.5 centimeters wide, 2.8 inches or 7.1 centimeters deep, and 0.75 inches or 1.9 centimeters high. And it only weighs 8.5 ounces or 240.9 grams. The BT Speak is powered by a Raspberry Pi compute module, and it includes traditional functions and applications, such as a text editor, calculator, calendar, phone book, stopwatch, timer, media player, file manager, braille tutorial, voice recorder, and much, much more. It also includes a full graphical environment based on the Mate Linux desktop and Orca screen reader. And this includes popular applications like the Chromium and Firefox web browsers, Thunderbird email, and the LibreOffice suite, which makes it possible to interact with documents from Microsoft Office, among others. The BT Speak also includes 802.11 AC wireless support, Bluetooth 5.0, USB-C and HDMI ports, and a microSD card slot for expanded storage. Before we get started with the BT Speak itself, let's first go through the contents of the package that you received to make sure everything is there. When you open the box, the first thing you will find, of course, is the BT Speak itself. If you ordered the custom leather carrying case from Blazy Technologies produced by Turtleback, your BT Speak will be packed inside that case, ready for use. If you did not order a case or would like one, Blazy Technologies does sell it for $92.95. For more information, you can check out the shop page at blazytech.com. The next thing that you will find is a short USB Type-C charging cable, and if you placed your order in North America, a power supply. You will also find a USB-C to 1/8 adapter to connect traditional wired headphones directly to the BT Speak. If anything is missing, please contact Blazy Technologies as soon as possible to make sure that we get these items to you. If everything is there, then let's check out the BT Speak itself. The first thing we're going to do is describe the BT Speak and make sure that it's oriented properly. You want to set the BT Speak down on a table in front of you with the keyboard facing up towards the ceiling and the 3 longer keys on the bottom facing towards you. You'll also know if the BT Speak is oriented properly by feeling around on the sides. The power button you'll find on the right-hand side, and on the back you'll find 3 different ports. If that description matches with what you're discovering, then you have the BT Speak oriented correctly. So now let's describe the BT Speak itself. On the right edge, you'll find a power button. This button is recessed slightly in between 2 small nibs. These are not buttons, these are just bumpers to help you orient yourself to finding the power button. To turn the BT Speak on, hint, don't do it just yet, you press and release the button once. When the BT Speak is on, you can quickly press the power button to put it to sleep, and again to wake it up. That's the only notable feature on the right-hand edge. And there's also nothing of note on the front or left edges, so let's move to the back of the unit. Moving from left to right, you're going to find 3 ports. The first one is a micro HDMI port, which you can use to connect the BT Speak to a monitor or a television in case there's somebody sighted that would like to use the device and may not know Braille. Immediately next to the micro HDMI port is the USB-C port. And this is the port you will use to connect the charger, headphones, keyboards, thumb drives, etc. to the BT Speak. Also notice that there's a raised line above this port and not the micro HDMI port. If you're ever confused about which port is which, look for the one with the raised line above it. That will be your USB-C port. This is the one you're probably going to use most of the time. And finally, to the right of the USB port is a micro SD card slot. This slot can accept cards of at least up to 1 terabyte in size, possibly more. Blazy Technologies doesn't recommend any specific brand or make or model of SD card. Just make sure that it is a micro SD card and not a standard SD card. So that does it for the back-facing panel of the BT Speak. Now let's look at the keyboard. On the very top face, you'll find some raised letters that say BT Speak in print. Immediately below the BT Speak logo, you'll find the Braille keyboard. Going from left to right, we have dots 3, 2, and 1, with a gap in between the other side of the keys, which are dots 4, 5, and 6. Notice that these keys are laid out ergonomically, so your finger should just sort of fall on them naturally. Below these keys, you will find 3 additional keys. On the left is dot 7. Next to that is a wider key. This is the spacebar. And finally, to the right of that is dot 8. Dot 7 many times will be used as a shift to make uppercase letters. Dot 8 is typically going to be your enter key or return key. On the far edge of the face, you'll also discover 2 small speakers, one on either side. These are stereo speakers from which the BT Speak's internal audio emanates. Near these speakers is also the built-in microphone that you can use to make voice recordings. That pretty much does it for the physical description of the BT Speak. Before we power it on, if you just received your unit, we recommend connecting it to the charger for a while first, just to ensure that the battery is topped off and ready to go. To do this, take your USB-C cable that you received, plug one end of it into the wall charger, and of course you'll want to plug the wall charger into a power outlet, and the other end into the USB-C port on the BT Speak. Again, this is that port with the ridge above it. Give it approximately 30 minutes to an hour to charge, just to be sure everything's ready. All right, now that the BT Speak has been charged, we've described it, you've got everything that you need from the box. Let's finally hit that power button and turn it on. Before we do that, let me tell you what's going to happen when you press that button. Again, this is the button on the right-hand side. It's in between 2 little nibs. You want to press it once, you don't need to hold the button down. As soon as you do, you will feel a vibration from the BT Speak's internal motor. And several seconds after that, you will then feel some regular pulses from that same motor to indicate that the BT Speak is powering on. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm not sure if my microphone's going to pick this up, but we will try. I'm holding my BT Speak up to the mic, going to press power button, and here we go. Okay, there's the vibration. Now we're waiting for it to boot. All right, and now it's powering on. We feel the vibrations.
BT Speak welcome screen is open.
All right, so the device powered on. You heard a couple little blips. It said BT Speak ready, which was a little chopped off there at the end. And then we heard viewing welcome screen. The file editor is the top level of where you can be when you power on your BT Speak. In this case, since nothing has been created yet, it defaults to taking you to the welcome screen that has some introductory information and provides some getting started instructions. So with the BT Speak, you don't have to go into a menu to create a new file. As soon as you power it on, it's ready to go and take your notes or whatever you need to write down. So now that the BT Speak is on, I'm going to press the power button and we will put it to sleep.
Sleeping.
I'm going to press it again to wake up the BT Speak.
Awake.
And we heard awake. So once the BT Speak is on, the sleep and wake process is pretty much instantaneous. Now, depending on your unit, you might have a different voice currently speaking. The BT Speak supports quite a few. So the first thing that we're going to do before we delve any further is to show you how to adjust the settings of your current voice to make it maybe more understandable for you. To do that, we're going to go into the speech settings menu. Before we do that, let's talk about chords. A chord is any combination of dots that also involves use of the spacebar. So a lot of times we're going to say to press O chord, for example, to go to the options menu. Don't do that just yet. But what we mean by that is you're pressing the letter O, dots 1, 3, and 5, along with the spacebar. And then you release all of the keys. You can also have chords that involve dots 7 or 8. An example of that is the deep escape command. If you want to go straight back to the editor from wherever you are, you can press deep escape, which in this case is Z7 chord. So it's the letter Z, dots 1, 3, 5, and 6, the spacebar, and dot 7. Since we're in the editor, we don't need to press that now. However, neither of those is what we want to press now. What we want to do is go into the speech settings menu. And to do that, we press S chord, dots 2, 3, 4, and the spacebar. And we hear
Speech settings.
Speech settings. Now we have the ability to adjust the volume, the rate, and the pitch of the currently active voice. Dot 1 will turn the speech down. Dot 4 will make it louder. Dot 2 will cause it to speak slower. Dot 5 will make it speak faster. And dots 3 and 6 will make the pitch lower or higher. So for example, if I want to maybe turn the volume down just a hair, I can press dot 1 a couple of times.
Volume 90. Volume 80. Volume 70.
And you can hear it getting quieter. We'll turn it back up to 100 with dot 4.
Volume 80. Volume 90. Volume 100.
Let's say I want to speed up the voice. Maybe this is too slow. I can press dot 5.
Rate 1. Rate 2. Rate 3. Rate 4. Rate 5. Rate 6. Rate 7.
And now you can hear it's speaking quicker. Or maybe the default is too fast. I want to slow it down. We can do dot 2.
Rate 6. Rate 5. Rate 4. Rate 3. Rate 2. Rate 1. Rate 0.
So rate 0 is the default. Now I'm going to continue going slower.
Rate minus 1. Rate minus 2. Rate minus 3. Rate minus 4. Rate minus 5. Rate minus 6. Rate minus 7.
And you can hear it getting really slow there. And finally, if I want to adjust the pitch, make it speak higher or lower, we can use dot 6 to go up.
Pitch 1. Pitch 2. Pitch 7.
Or down.
Pitch minus 4.
And that's starting to sound very unusual. We're going to go back to pitch 0 and rate 0. So dot 6.
Pitch 0.
There's pitch 0 and dot 5.
Rate minus 3. Rate 0.
So we hit dot 5 there to adjust the rate back to 0. Now notice when I was doing that, I didn't have to wait for the BT Speak to finish speaking its announcements. If you know what you want to do, you don't have to wait. You can just go ahead and press the keys. So once you know the BT Speak commands, you can fly through this thing very quickly. Two other speech settings that are available here are options to adjust both key and word echo. So the letter E will toggle character echo. So every time you type a letter, for example, you'll hear what that is. If you don't want to do that, you can press E. And in my case, you could hear tones going up and down. When they go up, that means this respective setting is on. When they go down, it means the respective setting is off. So let's make sure we do have keyboard echo enabled. There we go. I just pressed E. We heard the tones going up. We can also do word echo with the letter W. And if you want to set one of these values immediately to its on or off state, add .7 to turn it off, or .8 to turn it on. So E and .7 will turn off key echo no matter what it's set to. E with .8 will turn it on. Likewise, W and .7 turns word echo off, and W with .8 turns it on. So feel free to play around here. Get your BT Speak set to some values that are comfortable for you. Once you're satisfied, you can press Z chord, dots 1, 3, 5, 6, and the spacebar. And Z chord is the equivalent of escape. So this will back you out of whatever you happen to be in. So in this case, when we press Z chord, we hear
Default bindings.
Default bindings. That means the speech settings keys have been turned off and we're now back in the editor. If you're in the options menu, pressing Z chord will move you up a level if you've gone into several menus. Or if you're being prompted for something, Z chord oftentimes will allow you to cancel an action. All right, so for the remainder of this guide, I've plugged the BT Speak into the mixer so that you can hear it directly instead of hearing it from its speakers coming over my microphone, which might be coming over your speakers and just making it difficult to understand. So now we should all be back in the editor in the welcome screen. So before we do any further configuration of the BT Speak, I want to introduce you to some very basic navigation commands. And you might be wondering, why am I doing this now instead of later? And it's mainly because these same commands are going to be used throughout the system. So the welcome screen is a safe place to practice these commands before we start going into options and adjusting further settings. So with the speech settings, remember how dots 1, 2, and 3 slowed things down, and 4, 5, and 6 either sped them up, made them louder, increased a value. That same philosophy applies to navigation commands. So dots 1 chord and 4 chord will move back or forward or up and down, if you want to think of it that way, by line. Dots 1 and 4 chord, or C chord, will speak the current line or the current item that you're looking at. Dots 2 and 5 chords move by word, and dots 2, 5 chord will speak the current word. Finally, to go by character, you guessed it, it's dots 3 chord to go to the previous character, and dot 6 chord to move to the next character. Dots 3, 6 chord will speak the current character, or if you are in a menu, it will tell you what the shortcut key is to access that function. And if that's not totally clear yet, I think it will be when we start exploring the options menu more. Finally, dots 1, 2, 3 chord moves you to the top of the file, and dots 4, 5, 6 chord will move you to the end of the file. This is also true in menus. Dots 1, 2, 3 chord takes you to the beginning of the menu. Dots 4, 5, 6 chord moves you to its end. Also in the editor itself, you can use dots 1, 3 chord to move to the start of the current line, and dots 4, 6 chord to move to the end of the current line. These are the same as pressing home and end on a traditional PC keyboard. All right, so again, line is dots 1 and 4 chords for previous and next. Word is dots 2 and dots 5 chord, and character is dot 3 and dot 6 chord to go back and forth respectively. All right, let's practice this a bit. I'm going to press C chord to speak the current line, and we hear
The BT Speak from Blazy Technologies.
the BT Speak from Blazy Technologies. This is the top of the file. If I try to go to the previous line,
Top of file.
we hear top of file because we're already at the top, so our cursor doesn't move. The cursor is the insertion point. It's where you are in the file itself. Dot 4 chord will move us to the next line.
Blank.
and we hear blank because there's no text on that line. .4 chord again.
For context-sensitive help on whatever you're doing at the moment, press H chord.
For context-sensitive help on whatever you're doing at the moment, press H chord. And we'll get to H chord shortly. .4 chord again.
For the Help Topics index, press O chord to open the Options menu, followed by the letter H.
And now we just heard instructions on how to get to the Help Topics index. All right, let's start going by word on this particular line and see what happens. So to go forward, we can use .5 chord. And a tip, you don't have to press and release all keys for a chord. Specifically, you can leave the space bar down if you want to issue more than one chorded command at a time. So in this case, I'm going to hold down the space bar and tap .5 and release it.
The
Help
Topics
Index. I'm still holding the space bar, but I'm not holding any other key. I'm going to press .2.
Topics Help the 4.
Right now we're on 4, which is the start of the line. Again, I'm still holding spacebar. I'm going to press .2.
H chord.
And we heard H chord. We're now at the last word of the previous line. And we can verify that by doing C chord.
For context-sensitive help on whatever you're doing at the moment, press H chord.
All right, so again, still holding space. Again, you don't have to do this. I'm just telling you what I'm doing in case it's helpful. Let's say I want to know what this current word is. Maybe I missed it. There was some sort of noise. Well, I can just do .25 chord.
H chord.
And we hear H chord.
H chord.
And finally, we can do .3 and 6 chord to move back or forward by character. Let's start going forward.
Cap C, H, O, R, T.
So there was a dash there that wasn't spoken at the time. This particular synthesizer doesn't always speak punctuation. Others do. So we pressed .6 chord again, and we heard C-H-O-R-D. If I go back with .3 chord.
R-O-H, cap C.
There's that silence.
Cap H.
And there's H.
Space.
And I'm continuing to go left.
S, S, E, R.
So now we're on the R of press. Let's do .36 chord.
R, R, R.
And finally, if I want to go back to the beginning of the file, I can do .1, 2, 3 chord.
Top of file.
We hear top of file, and I can verify I'm at the top with C chord.
The BT Speak from Bleezy Technologies.
The BT Speak from Bleezy Technologies, that's our starting line. What's at the end of the file? Let's do .4, 5, 6 chord.
End of file.
And we heard end of file. C chord from here
blank
is blank because the last line is blank. But if we do .1 chord,
we thank these companies, as well as Vox and Auralux, for allowing us to use their software within our products.
We heard the last actual text line of the welcome screen. There's two other commands I want to briefly demonstrate here in the BT Speak editor. And this is the say to end command and the silent speech command. So to demonstrate the say to end, let's go back to the top of the file with .1, 2, 3 chord.
Top of file.
So if I want to just hear the contents, I can do ER chord or .1, 2, 4, 5, 6 chord, and we'll hear the welcome screen.
The BT Speak from Bleezy Technologies. For context-sensitive help on whatever you're doing at the moment, press H chord for the Help Topics index. Press O chord to open the Options menu, followed by the letter H. We recommend that new users begin by reading these help topics in the following order: Product Description, Command Summary, Options Menu, File Management, Speech Settings, Power Button. This product contains proprietary software from Human Voice LLC and from Sarensen Codifactory SL. All rights reserved. We thank these companies, as well as Vox and Auralux, for allowing us to use their software within our products.
And that was the end. So let's say I want to just stop speech. I heard the information that I cared about, and I don't want the BT Speak to read anymore. You can use the silence command, which is .7 and 8 pressed together. This is not a chord, so just .7 and 8 by themselves. So let's go back to the top of the file.
Top of file.
.1, 2, 3 chord. I'm going to do a C chord to read the current line. And then I'm going to press dots 7 and 8 and notice that the BT Speak will stop speaking before it completes reading the line.
The BT Speak from...
There we go. And this command will work anywhere inside the BT Speak. So no matter what you're doing, if you just need the BT Speak to stop talking, hit dots 7 and 8 and you'll be good to go. We've heard references to this H-chord thing. What is that all about? H-chord is the BT Speak's context-sensitive help facility. You can press this command pretty much anywhere in the BT Speak to bring up information about the application that you're working with. So, since we're in the editor, if I press H-chord, we'll get help on using the editor itself. Let's do that now.
BT Speak Editor Help.
And we heard BT Speak Editor Help. And we can start reading this file using the same commands that we just learned for reading the welcome screen. And let's do .4 chord and we can start reading this help information.
Both the File Management menu, O-chord M, and the File Browser, O-chord F, provide these file editing functions. O. Open an existing file, prompts for name. C. Create a new file, prompts for name. S. Save the current file without leaving it.
And you can hear some information on how to open existing files or create new ones from the file menu. Following that is information specific to the editor screen itself. We don't need to go through all of that now, but it's here when you're ready to. To exit the help, it is, can you guess it? That's right, Z chord takes us back. And we heard two tones, which indicate that the help system has been turned off. We're back in the editor. I can verify that two ways, actually. First is with the C chord, of course.
The BT Speak from Bleezy Technologies.
That tells us the line we're on. But we can also do this another way. The editor is currently showing the BT Speak from Bleezy Technologies. That text could be in some other application. What if I want to know, what application am I in? Am I in the clock? Am I in the calendar? Am I in the calculator? Am I in the stopwatch? Am I in the media player? Am I in the phone book? What am I doing? To answer that question, you can use the Where Am I command, which is dots 1, 5, and 6 chord. Those of you who know contracted English Braille may recognize this as the WH sign. Think of WH as in where. So let's press that now.
BT Speak Editor welcome screen is open.
And we hear BT Speak Editor welcome screen is open. All right, now that we've gotten some orientation down, let's show you the options menu, which is kind of the main launching point to get to all of the parts of the system. As alluded to earlier, you can press O chord to get into the options menu. That's dots 1, 3, 5, and the spacebar.
Options menu opened.
And we hear options menu opened. Well, what if I don't know how to navigate the options menu? Well, I can do H chord to get some help. Let's press that now.
Options menu help.
And we hear options menu help. Let's start going down the help with .4 chord.
O chord enters the options menu, Z chord exits it.
All right, so we just heard that O chord gets into the options menu. Z chord will take us out of it.
The following key combinations can be used to navigate the menu. Select the first item, 1, 2, 3 chord. Select the last item, 4, 5, 6 chord. Select the previous item, wraps from first to last, 1 chord or backspace. Select the next item, wraps from last to first, 4 chord or space. Activate the selected item, enter, .8.
And we can stop there. We've gotten the basic navigation commands just listed out to us. So now that I know what to do, I can press Z chord.
Options menu opened.
All right, here we are in the options menu. So let's start exploring. I can press either the spacebar or .4 chord to move forward, .1 chord or .7, which is the backspace in this case, to go back an item. And if I reach the start of the menu, for example, and try to go back, I'm going to wrap around to the last item in that menu and continue moving up. The same is true if I am at the last item in the menu and I try to go forward, I'm going to wrap around back to the first. And of course, dots 1, 2, 3 chord takes us to the first item, dots 4, 5, 6 chord to the last. I'm going to press the spacebar. Let's see what we got.
Settings. Shortcut is S.
Here's settings, and we also heard that its shortcut is S. So what this means is if I know I want to get straight to settings, which is what we're going to do in the next section here, I can do O chord followed by S. I don't have to go find it. Space again.
Applications, shortcut is A.
Applications, shortcut is A.
Time, shortcut is T.
The time, shortcut is T.
Date, shortcut is D.
Date for D.
Battery, shortcut is B.
Battery, that will tell us the battery status.
File browser, shortcut is F.
Here's the file browser.
Manage files, shortcut is M.
Manage files.
Print current file, shortcut is P.
Print current file.
Wi-Fi, shortcut is W.
Wi-Fi, which we will go into and set up as well.
Calculator, shortcut is C.
Here's the scientific calculator.
Stopwatch, shortcut is.
Stopwatch, shortcut is. Well, in this case, the shortcut is the number sign, dots 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, this synthesizer does not speak extra punctuation sometimes.
Operating system, shortcut is O.
Operating system, this is where you can do things like reboot the system, turn services on and off for things like file sharing, change your password, all of that kind of fun stuff. It's not anything you need to worry about if you don't want to.
User, shortcut is U.
Here's the user menu. This is a special menu where you can copy your most frequently used either applications or shortcuts from the options menu system itself if you want to get to them quickly. So if you have to go several levels down to something that you use all the time, you might want to add it to the menu here. We're not going to go through that, but know that there is a way to create kind of quick shortcuts to your frequently used applications or settings.
Voice command, shortcut is V.
Here's the voice command option where you can issue some basic voice commands to the system.
Help, shortcut is H.
I'm going to go into the help index here because this is where you can access all of the onboard help topics. So press enter or .8.
Help topics index, opened.
Now we're in the help topics index menu, and we heard that that's open, so we can start going down. I'm going to press the spacebar.
BT Learn menu.
Here's BT Learn.
BT Speak editor.
BT Learn, by the way, is the Braille tutorial application that's included on the BT Speak. Then we got to the BT Speak editor.
Deck Talk.
Information on the Deck Talk synthesizer, which is included from Human Voice LLC.
OpenAI key.
OpenAI key, if you want to use the Chat GPT application that was written by Tim Noonan, that's included on here. This gives you information on how to get a key to work with that service.
Voxen Voices.
Here's Voxen Voices, information on installing vocalizer voices, which a few are included from Code Factory by default on the BT Speak. You can buy additional voices from the Orlex project if interested.
AI Chat.
Information on the AI chat, that's the name of that Chat GPT application.
Boot menu.
Information on the emergency boot menu.
Calculator.
Calculator help.
Calendar menu.
Calendar.
Change clock.
Change clock. There's a lot in here, so we don't need to go through all of these, but you can find help on pretty much anything that you would want to know about the BT Speak here. So again, that was O chord H to get to this. Let's do Z chord to back out.
Help. Shortcut is H.
And now we're back in the main options menu. Let's continue exploring with the spacebar.
Settings. Shortcut is S.
In this case, we're back to settings. All right, so now that we've familiarized ourselves with how to navigate the options menu, let's go into settings because they contain some important features that you might want to adjust sooner than later so that your BT Speak is using the speech synthesizer that you prefer and understands which Braille table you're typing with. So if you're still in the options menu, you can hit S. If you're not, you can do O chord followed by S. Either way, you'll get into the settings menu. So let's do that now.
Settings menu, opened.
We're now in the settings menu. Let's do .4 chord or space.
Braille, shortcut is B.
First option here is Braille. Let's go in there.
Braille settings menu, opened.
I pressed enter. Let's hit space.
Change the input prompt mode. Shortcut is I.
Input prompt mode, I'll talk about that in a moment. Continue with the space bar.
Change the literary Braille table. Shortcut is L.
Change the literary braille table. That's what we're about to go and do.
Change the input prompt mode. Shortcut is I.
I hit space to move again, and of course we wrap back to the top. So there's just 2 items in this particular menu. Let's go back to
change the literary braille table. Shortcut is L.
Change the literary braille table. Shortcut is L. I'm going to press enter or .8.
English, United States.
English United States is what I have my table currently set to. Yours will probably be set to English Unified, at least if you are in an English-speaking country. This menu acts a little differently, so we're going to need to do .4 chord and .1 chord to go forward or back. So .4 chord.
English, United Kingdom.
English United Kingdom.
French, Unified.
French Unified.
German.
German.
Russian. Spanish.
And that's the end of the braille tables. Let's go back up with .1 chord.
Russian, German, French, English, United States, English, Unified.
Right, we have English Unified. This is the default braille table, and it's what I'm going to go ahead and select here. If you grew up with American Contracted Braille, which was traditionally known as Grade 2 Braille, then the braille table you're going to probably want is
English, United States.
English United States. But in this case, we're not going to do that. But it is here if you want to use kind of classic Braille, as some of us who've been around for a while might call it.
English Unified.
So we're up to English Unified. I'm going to press enter.
Braille table changed to English Unified.
And we heard that the braille table was changed to English Unified. Fantastic. To dismiss this, I can either press enter, which again is .8, or Z chord. We'll press enter.
Change the literary braille table. Shortcut is L.
All right, so there's the literary braille table. Let's go back to the other option here with .1 chord.
Change the input prompt mode. Shortcut is I.
Change the input prompt mode. What the heck is that? The BT Speak can ask you for various pieces of information. Maybe you're in one of its applications and maybe it's prompting you for a file name. Maybe it's prompting you for a date. There's 2 ways you can type that. Either in computer braille, which is essentially just the raw braille dots, no contractions, no nothing, or you can type it using your preferred braille table. So since I've selected Unified English Braille or UEB, I can respond with UEB, or I can respond in computer braille. Doesn't matter. You can change this at any point while you're working with a program, so you don't have to set something and then go back to this setting to change it later. The default input prompt mode lets you choose which one to expect by default. So if you don't change it, what will the system be expecting you to type? Let's press enter and see what we got.
Expect computer braille.
Let's press .4 chord.
Expect literary braille.
Expect literary braille. So if I press enter now.
Prompt input changed to expect literary braille.
And we heard that has been changed. Press enter.
Change the input prompt mode. Shortcut is I.
So now, anytime I'm asked for something by the system, I can type in Contracted Unified English Braille. I'm actually going to change this back to computer braille, not because I think one mode's better than the other. I'm just used to doing things in computer braille because that's how I did things growing up. So we're going to switch back.
Expect literary braille.
I pressed enter to go back to the menu. Let's go .1 chord.
Expect computer braille.
Expect computer braille. Press .8 or return.
Prompt input changed to expect computer braille. Change the input prompt mode. Shortcut is I.
All right. That's been changed. These are the braille settings that we have. So now hopefully you are set with a braille table that you prefer, as well as having your input mode configured to your liking. Now we're going to do Z chord to go up a level.
Braille. Shortcut is B.
All right, so that was everything related to braille. Let's hit the space bar to go to the next item.
Speech. Shortcut is S.
Speech. Speech is a very subjective preference. Some voices might be easier for people to hear or understand. Some might be more difficult. The good news, and to my knowledge, a unique feature of the BT Speak, is that it is the only Braille computer that supports multiple speech synthesizers. That is, the technology that produces speech. Right now, for example, you're listening to one of the vocalizer embedded voices that come from Code Factory. The voice that's talking is Nathan. And if you like the more human-sounding speech, Vocalizer is an excellent choice. It's responsive, it's understandable, even at fast rates. If for some reason the voices just don't work for you, you don't like them, you have other options. So let's go and see what these are. So again, we are...
Speech. Shortcut is S.
We are at the speech menu, so press enter here.
Speech settings menu. Opened.
Spacebar.
Change the TTS engine. Shortcut is T.
All right, the first option we have here is change the TTS engine. TTS meaning text to speech. Let's press enter and see what is available.
Vocalizer.
All right, so the first item in my menu is Vocalizer because that's what is active. It's also the last item in the list. So I'm going to do .1 chord to go up.
RH voice.
RH voice, that's another synthesizer which you can install. It does not come included by default, however.
Deck Talk.
Here's Deck Talk, that is included by default.
eSpeak NG.
And here's eSpeak NG. I'm going to go to Deck Talk from Human Voice LLC.
Deck Talk.
With .4 chord. And I'm going to press enter or .8.
TTS engine changed to Deck Talk.
And we heard TTS engine changed to Deck Talk. And you'll notice the voice is very much different now.
Change the TTS engine. Shortcut is T.
So that's what Deck Talk sounds like by default. It does have some other voice variants available if you want to use them. So let's go back into the TTS settings.
Deck Talk.
And let's see what eSpeak sounds like. .1 chord.
eSpeak NG.
Here's eSpeak NG. Press enter.
TTS engine changed to eSpeak NG.
And we heard that the TTS engine has been changed to eSpeak NG.
Change the TTS engine. Shortcut is T.
All right, so that's what eSpeak sounds like. I'm going to go back to Vocalizer for the sake of consistency here. So press enter.
eSpeak NG.
And we're in the menu. Let's go .4 chord.
Deck Talk. RH voice. Vocalizer.
To Vocalizer. Press enter.
TTS engine changed to Vocalizer.
And now we're back to Vocalizer. Press enter.
Change the TTS engine. Shortcut is T.
All right. Before we move away from this topic, I also do want to let you know that you can install some additional synthesizers if you like, including Flight and Pico, both of which are more robotic sounding, but they're free, they work, so why not? Same with RH voice, by the way. And we'll show you where to do that here in just a second. So let's go to the next item in this menu.
TTS Manager. Shortcut is M.
And we have the TTS Manager. This is where you can install or uninstall voices.
Install Vocalizer voices.
Including Vocalizer. So you might not have the Vocalizer voices available to you right off the bat, but you can install them from this menu item. I've already got them installed, so this won't do anything. In addition, if you were to purchase some voices from the Orlux project, the Voxen package in particular, you can copy them to the BT Speak and you'll be able to install them using this same item. Let's hit .4 chord to move to the next item.
Remove the Vocalizer TTS engine.
Remove the Vocalizer TTS engine. I don't want to do that. I'm using it and happen to like it. But you can do that if you like. The only caveat, of course, is that that engine can't be active at the time. .4 chord again.
Manage RH voice languages.
Manage RH voice languages. So RH voice is multilingual. So if you have that installed, you can add languages to it. It comes with English by default, but it's got some others.
Remove the RH voice TTS engine.
Here's an option to remove the RH voice TTS engine.
Install the Pico TTS engine.
Here's install Pico.
Install the Festival Lite TTS engine.
Festival Lite or Flight, as it's often referred to. And that's what we have. With the BT Speak, you have the option of 6 different speech synthesizers. eSpeak, Deck Talk, Vocalizer, RH Voice, Pico, and Festival Lite. Hopefully you can find a speech engine among those 6 that works for you. All right, we have the engines installed that we want. I'm going to do Z chord to back out of here.
TTS Manager. Shortcut is M.
TTS Manager. And let's go down with .4 chord.
eSpeak NG settings. shortcut is E.
Here's eSpeak settings,
Deck Talk settings, shortcut is D.
Deck Talk settings,
RH Voice settings, shortcut is R.
RH voice settings,
Vocalizer settings, shortcut is V.
and here's vocalizer settings. I'm going to go in here because that's the active synthesizer right now.
Vocalizer settings menu, opened.
And let's do .4 chord.
Language, shortcut is L.
Let's go into language with enter.
English, United States.
And we heard English, United States. Do I have anything else? .1 chord says nothing. .4 chord says nothing, which is what I would expect. In my case, I only have the one language installed, but many languages are available through the Vocalizer TTS. So if you need other languages, you can either install them maybe from Code Factory in a future update, maybe from the Orlux project if you buy them directly as a Vox invoice. Those languages will all show up here. But since we only have the one language, I'm going to do Z chord to go back out.
Setting change cancelled.
Setting change canceled.
Language, shortcut is L.
All right, enter to dismiss that. Let's go to the next item here in the Vocalizer menu.
Voice, shortcut is V.
Voice. Let's see what we have in here.
Nathan Embedded Compact.
Now you notice when you open this particular set of menus, it takes a couple seconds before the options show up. And that's because the settings menu is scanning immediately right then and there to see what voices are installed, what languages they're associated with, and all that. And that takes a little bit of time. But the good news is what you see is going to be accurate every time you open this menu. So currently we are on Nathan. Let's do .4 chord.
Samantha Embedded Compact.
Samantha Embedded.
Tom Embedded Compact.
Tom Embedded. And those are the three that come pre-installed, at least on my unit as I'm recording this. Let's say I want to go to Samantha. Let's do .1 chord.
Samantha Embedded Compact.
And I will press .8.
Vox and voice changed to Samantha Embedded Compact.
And the voice has changed. We'll press enter.
Voice, shortcut is V.
Let's go back to this item.
Samantha Embedded Compact.
All right, and let's show you what Tom sounds like. .4 chord.
Tom Embedded Compact.
Press enter.
Vox and voice changed to Tom Embedded Compact. Voice, shortcut is V.
And for consistency's sake, we'll go back to using Nathan. Press enter.
Tom Embedded Compact.
And we'll do .1 chord a couple of times.
Nathan Embedded Compact.
Here's Nathan. Press enter.
Vox and voice changed to Nathan Embedded Compact.
All right, and the voice has been changed back to Nathan.
Voice, shortcut is V. Language, shortcut is L.
All right, so we only have two items. Again, we're back in the vocalizer menu. I hit .4 chord to wrap around. So we have language and voice. Your eSpeak and Deck Talk settings, RH voice will be similar. All three have language selections. The available languages will differ on the engines themselves. And you can also choose specific voices or variants in the case of eSpeak. But since neither of those are active at the moment, we won't explore those. But feel free to do that as an exercise. You definitely have the information and the skills now to do that on your own if you like. Let's do Z chord to back out of here.
Vocalizer settings, shortcut is V.
Okay, there's vocalizer settings. Do we have anything else in this menu?
Change the TTS engine, shortcut is T.
We do not. All right, so there's your speech and your braille all set up and ready to go however you like to have them. Let's do Z chord.
Speech, shortcut is S.
Okay, so now we're in the main settings menu. We just did speech. What else do we have here?
Audio, shortcut is A.
Here's audio.
Clock, shortcut is C.
Clock.
Google, shortcut is G.
Google.
Braille, shortcut is B.
And then we wrap around to braille. So the audio menu allows you to change the system volume up or down, as well as the microphone volume up or down. The system volume is going to be different from, say, the media or the speech volume. So the system is kind of the master volume control that everything else is based off of. So if the system volume is really, really quiet, then everything else is going to be really, really quiet, no matter how loud you try to make them. If you set the system volume to a high value, everything else will also start at a high volume. That you might want to change if you want to just adjust everything at once. Media, speech, whatever else might be playing at the time. You can also adjust the speech volume as we did with the speech settings menu with S chord earlier. That was the S chord and then .1 to make softer, .4 to make louder. You can also adjust the media volume. So if you are listening to some music or a radio station or a book, maybe a lecture or a voice note that you've recorded, that can be set independently as well. And of course, in the clock menu, you can do things like set your time zone. You can set the actual date and time if necessary, and also adjust how the time is reported. Is it 12-hour format? Is it 24-hour format? The good news is that once we get online with the BT Speak, you won't have to do any of that, because part of what the BT Speak will do is synchronize the time with the internet. So your date and time will just be set correctly. The only thing you might need to do is go and adjust your time zone. In fact, once we connect to the internet, we'll go back here and show you how to do that. All right, so that does it for the settings menu. You are absolutely welcome and encouraged to explore as you like. We will exit that for now with Z chord.
Settings. Shortcut is S.
Here's settings. And now for the big moment, let's connect to the internet, in this case, Wi-Fi. I can press the letter W. Since I'm in the main options menu, I can use .4 chord or spacebar to get to Wi-Fi and press enter. Either way is fine. I'm lazy, so I'm going to hit W.
Wi-Fi menu. Opened.
So here's the Wi-Fi menu. Let's hit space.
Add network. Shortcut is A.
Add network, which is what we want, but let's see what else we have.
Switch network. Shortcut is S.
Switch network.
Add network. Shortcut is A.
So we have add network and switch network. So let's add a network by pressing the letter A.
Discovering visible Wi-Fi networks.
All right, so
Clogenet 99, WPA1, WPA2.
All right, so that didn't take terribly long. When we were told that the BT Speak was searching, I also felt some brief vibrations from the unit as sort of a progress indicator that something was happening. As you heard, that didn't last very long. So now that we have the networks, we can use dots 1 and 4 chords to move through them and find the one we want to connect to. So we heard 1. Let's see what else we have here.
Emila 82, WPA2.
So we're hearing the name of the network, the signal strength, in which case this one is 82%, and the type of network that it's using, WPA2 in this case.
Joclinet 67, WPA1, WPA2. Emila 65, WPA2. Xfinity Mobile 65, WPA2 802.1X.
So there's a lot of networks here. The one that I want to connect to is actually closer to the beginning of the list, so rather than going all the way back to the top manually, let's go the short way. .123 chord.
Clogenet 99, WPA1, WPA2.
And that's not the one I want.
Emila 82,
Let's do .4 chord.
Joclinet 67, WPA1, WPA2.
All right, here's the network that I want to connect to. So once you find yours, press enter or .8. If your network requires a password, which most do, you will be prompted for that. Now, this is one reason that I still keep my BT Speak set to computer braille. I find it less error prone to type things like passwords that require exact characters. Some braille tables don't translate things as well as others do. Unified English Braille is pretty good about it. If you are set to computer braille, here's a couple of tips before we press enter to type our password. Your letters A through Z are all the same as literary braille. The only difference is nothing is contracted, so everything is spelled out. If you need to type a capital letter, you want to hold .7 while pressing the dots for the letter itself. So if I needed to make a capital A, I would hold .7 and type .1. A B would be .7 and dots 1, 2, and so on. If I need to type a number, they will all be entered in the lower dots of the cell. So think of them as lower A through lower J. An exclamation point is dots 2, 3, 4, and 6. The period is dots 4, 6. The percent sign is dots 1, 4, 6. And the @ sign is dot 7 along with dot 4. And yes, I realize that was probably a lot. If you need a reference to that, we do include information on how to type all of these computer braille symbols in the help index. Okay, we are still at the Wi-Fi prompt. I have the network selected to which I want to connect. So I'm going to press .8 or enter.
Password.
We were asked for the password, and I feel those status pulses on my BT Speak. So I'm going to type that now. And notice you don't hear anything as you type the password. This is a convention of Linux operating systems in general. All right, so my password has been entered. I'm going to press .8 and see if we can get online.
Password. Now connected to Joclonet.
And we hear we are now connected to Joclonet, which is the name of the network here. I'm done here, so we will do Z-Chord again.
Wi-Fi. Shortcut is W.
To get back to Wi-Fi. Let's go back to settings, specifically to the clock, and I can show you how to make sure your time zone is set correctly. So, S for settings.
Settings menu. Opened.
C for clock.
Clock settings menu. Opened.
And let's see what we have in here. Let's do space.
Say seconds. Shortcut is S.
So if you want to hear the time announced with hours, minutes, and seconds, you can choose that here.
Time format. Shortcut is F.
Time format, which will be either 12 or 24 hour.
Set the time zone. Based on your internet address. Shortcut is I.
All right, set the time zone based on your internet address. The BT Speak will figure out where we are geographically based on our internet connection and set the time zone accordingly. So let's press enter to do that.
Time zone changed to America, Indiana, Indianapolis.
And there we go.
Set the time zone. Based on your internet address. Shortcut is I.
But let's say that's incorrect for whatever reason. We can keep going.
Change the time zone. Shortcut is Z.
We can change the time zone. We'll press enter.
America, Indiana, Indianapolis.
And now we're in a menu that shows all available time zones with the current one selected. So from here you can use .1 chord and .4 chord to move back and forth through the available time zones and press enter on the one that you want to set to.
America, Hermosillo. America, Havana.
So if I want to be in Havana time, I can do that. I don't, however, so we'll go back.
America, Indiana, Indianapolis.
And press enter.
Same time zone not changed.
Yep, time zone not changed. Perfect. I don't want it to change.
Change the time zone. Shortcut is Z.
And if we continue going through the main clock settings menu, we also have
change the date. Shortcut is D.
Change the date.
Change the time. Shortcut is T.
Change the time. Now, if we didn't have an internet connection, you can manually set your date and time, but there's a big caveat. Once you are online, the internet time is going to supersede anything you might have manually set. So most of the time, this isn't something that you will need to do, but it is available if required. And do we have anything else in this menu? The spacebar tells us that.
Say seconds. Shortcut is S.
In fact, we do not. We're back to say seconds, which is the first item in the menu. Z chord to get out of clock settings.
Clock. Shortcut is C.
Z chord again to get to the main settings menu.
Settings. Shortcut is S.
All right, we're making real progress here. We've set up the speech, braille preferences. We've learned how to get around the editor and the menus. We're online now. Next thing that we're going to do is perform a system update. Blazy Technologies is regularly releasing software updates for the BT Speak. At this particular time, which is August of 2024, the cadence for those updates is about once a month or 6 weeks. So there's a good chance that there may be an update already waiting for you. To find out, you can either just wait for the BT Speak to tell you that an update is available, or you can manually check. And we're going to do the manual process now. So to do that, you want to get to the options menu, again with O-Chord. We are in the options menu still. Then we want to go to the operating system menu. So O again.
Operating system menu, opened.
Then we want to go to the system administration menu with S.
System administration menu, opened.
And then we can do the letter U to upgrade. Again, I'm just giving shortcut keys here. You can find all of these options by manually traversing the menus as we've demonstrated. So let's hit the letter U.
Upgrade test checking for system update. An update is available. Would you like to upgrade? Default is no.
An upgrade is available, and we were just asked if we want to upgrade. If I don't want to do that, I can hit N, or in this case, return, because the default is no. But in this case, I do. So I'm going to press the letter Y for yes.
Y.
And then enter to accept the update. And then what's going to happen is we will receive some periodic status messages from the BT Speak itself. And during the update, we'll feel those progress bar pulses that we noticed when turning the device on or while connecting to Wi-Fi. I'm going to press enter now, and let's get started.
Merging source changes. Updating the GitHub tools.
So you can hear the status messages going, and the BT Speak itself is giving those pulses.
Installing needed packages.
And it's installing packages. While the BT Speak updates itself, I do want to bring home here that this device only accepts software updates over the internet. So if you want to upgrade, you need to get the machine online either through Wi-Fi, or if you have, say, a USB hub that can connect directly to a network, that will work as well. And the time it takes for the system to update is going to depend largely on two factors. One is the speed of your internet connection, of course, to download the update itself, but also how many components have changed. Sometimes it might be just one or two. Sometimes it could be more.
Configuring BRLTTY.
Now we're moving along here. So if the update seems to be taking a while,
installing BRLTTY.
That's perfectly normal. Again, it's all dependent on these factors. And you can hear the status updates as they're coming through. We still have the vibration pulses going.
Updating the building the editor, installing the editor. Updating the audio driver. Enabling SD card support. Configuring the system service units. Updating the system configuration parameters. Rebooting the device.
The BT Speak is rebooting. We heard the shutdown tones, so the update has been installed. Now we just wait for it to come back up talking. There's our vibrations.
Welcome screen is open.
And the reboot has succeeded. Notice that the BT Speak defaulted its audio back to the internal speakers once it restarted. This is normal and expected. So I took a quick pause here and reconnected it to the mixer. So let's hit C chord and see where we're at.
The BT Speak from Bleezy Technologies.
All right, next we're going to explore some basic file management by creating some files, deleting them, making edits, and all that good stuff. Things that you will probably want to do right away with your BT Speak. Now we are in the editor at the moment. If you are not, you can always get back to it by pressing Z and 7 chord together. That's Z.7 and the spacebar. And we should be in the welcome screen. We can verify that with WH chord.
BT Speak Editor welcome screen is open.
BT Speak Editor welcome screen is open. All right. Now you might have experimented with this, but if you haven't yet, try typing some characters and see what happens. I'm going to just type ABC.
File is write protected. File is write protected. File is write protected.
File is write protected. This is a file that you cannot modify. So you can't type in it. You can't delete anything in it. So it's good for reading, but it's not something that you can make changes to. So what we need to do is make a brand new file. And to do that, we're going to introduce you to the File menu. The File menu is found in the Options menu, so O chord will get us there.
Options menu opened.
And we can either move to the File Management menu and press Enter, or use its shortcut, which in this case is the letter F. Think F for File.
Listing for Home Pi.
Listing for Home Pi, it's actually /home/pi. That is your top-level directory. This is the place where all of your documents, directories, media, etc. is stored. So just like the Options menu, you can navigate your files in the same way. So .1 chord will move up to the previous file, .4 chord the next file. You can also use backspace and space, respectively, to go back and forth. .1, 2, 3 chord moves to the top of the file listing. .4, 5, 6 chord moves to the end. There are some additional commands available in the File menu that are unique to file management, and we'll introduce those as we need them. To get started, let's just use the .1 chord, .4 chord to move up and down. .1 chord says
Videos, directory, 13 of 13.
Okay, videos directory, 13 of 13.
USB 1, directory, 12 of 13.
USB 1, you might see that, you might not. It depends on whether you've connected a flash drive or similar to your BT Speak at some point.
Templates, directory, 11 of 13.
Templates, which is another directory.
SD card, directory, 10 of 13.
SD card, again, you'll see this if you have added an SD card to your BT Speak. I have one currently connected.
Public, directory, 9 of 13.
Here's public. This is the folder where if you've enabled file sharing, this is the directory for others to see.
Pictures, directory, 8 of 13.
Pictures.
Music, directory, 7 of 13.
Music.
Git, directory, 6 of 13.
Git. This is a folder that I created to store some code.
Downloads, directory, 5 of 13.
Downloads.
Documents,
Documents.
directory, desktop, directory, contacts, JSON, 2, BT Speak, directory, 1 of 13.
So there's pretty much only one file in here.
Contacts, JSON, 2 of 13.
Contacts.json, JSON. It's a file from the phonebook application. Everything said directory except for this one. We heard
Contacts, JSON, 2 of 13.
Just the file name and that it was 2 of 13. So for files, you can use the Enter key to open them. You can also do the same thing with a directory. So if I were to go to
BT Speak, directory, videos, directory, 13 of 13.
Let's just try the videos directory, for example. I will press Enter.
Listing for Home Pi videos, directory is empty.
To get out of a directory, or to go up to the previous directory, in this case our home folder, you can press space and .7, or in this case think of it as backspace chord.
Videos, directory, 13 of 13.
Now we're back in the main directory. Let's hit the space bar.
BT Speak, directory, 1 of 13.
Just wrapped us around to the top here. Here's the BT Speak directory, which may or may not be on your unit yet. Some of the onboard applications do store data and similar things here. So you might see this appear at some point in the future. I do happen to know that there is content in this directory, so let's press .8 to enter it.
Listing for Home Pi BT Speak.
And this time we were not told that the directory was empty, so let's start exploring. I'm just going to hit the spacebar.
Radio stations menu, 1 of 3.
Radio stations.
User menu, 2 of 3.
User menu.
Voice notes, directory, 3 of 3.
Here's the voice notes directory from some test recordings that I made. If I wanted to go into here, I can press .8.
Listing for home Pi BT Speak voice notes.
And now I can start hitting space to see what's in this directory.
2024 07 31 14 46 50 MP3, 1 of 30.
So we hear that there are 30 files in here.
2024 2024 07 30.
And I'm pressing the spacebar to go through these, and I just hit .7 and 8 to silent speech, so we didn't have to hear that very long file name. So if I wanted to open any of these, I could press enter, and depending on the type of file you're looking at, it might open in the editor. It might get translated from, say, another format like a Word document, for instance, so that the editor could view it. In the case of media files like MP3s, which these are, it would start playing in the media player immediately and allow us to continue browsing the file list. Not going to do any of that right now, however. So I'm going to do backspace chord, or 7 chord, twice.
Voice notes, directory, 3 of 3. BT Speak, directory, 1 of 13.
All right, now we're in the home directory, the top level. What if I press backspace chord again?
At home directory.
By default, we don't allow you to leave that. There is a way to do that if you are very adventuresome and know what you're doing. I stress that you know what you're doing because this is Linux based. We don't hide anything from you. So if you want to get into the system, you can. We're not going to go through that here, but you can get to directories outside of the home folder if you really, really need to. In this case, we don't. What we want to do is create a couple of documents. So to do that, I'm going to press the letter C for create.
Enter file name.
Now we're being asked for a file name. What do we want to call this new document that we're going to write? So when you enter a file name, there's a couple things to keep in mind. First, remember that we adjusted the default input prompt setting earlier. That applies here. If you wanted to type in computer braille by default, that's what this prompt is going to expect. If you want to type in literary braille, it will expect that by default. Now I'm in computer braille at the moment. Let's say I didn't want computer braille this time. I want to type in literary braille. I can flip that setting on the fly just for this prompt by using either .2/3 chord or .5/6 chord to switch between the two. So .2/3 chord will choose computer braille. Of course, it doesn't say anything because that's already been set. If I do .5/6 chord, however,
literary braille.
We hear literary braille. Now I can type my file name in contracted braille. One other thing to keep in mind is that the type of document that you create will dictate whether the editor treats that file as braille or plain text. And this is determined by the end of the file name. So if I were to create a file right now called test, T-E-S-T, and press enter, we would get a text document. At that point, I could not write braille. Well, I could, but the BT Speak would treat it as plain text, or in this case, computer braille. If I want a braille version of this file, I need to add .brl or .brf to the end. So if I want to make a test document that will accept contracted braille, in my case, I would need to type test.brl. If that BRL or BRF is missing, the editor is going to assume that you don't want a braille document. So let's go ahead and create that file now. I'm going to go back to computer braille.
Computer braille.
And type
T-E-S-T.
And I type .46, that is the period in computer braille. If you're in contracted Braille, it might be something different. And then we'll type BRL. And I'm going to press enter to create the file.
Test BRL is open.
Test BRL is open. Okay. Now if I try to explore with, say, .1 chord
Top of file.
or .4 chord,
End of file.
there's nothing here. So blank document, we can start writing some text, which is what we're going to do. We're going to keep this fairly simple because we're just demonstrating, but hopefully this will be enough to get you started. I'm going to write 3 lines in this file, and we're going to separate each line with .8 or the enter key. So enter makes a brand new line. So we're going to type, this is line 1.
.6 TH IS L low I E .5 O low D.
So that's the first line. This is line 1. I can verify that with C chord.
This is line 1.
Okay, press .8.
New line.
New line, all right.
.6
Now we're going to type, this is line 3.
TH IS L low I E TH R E E low D.
Okay, there's line 3.
New line.
New line. Then we're going to type, this is line 2.
.6 TH IS L low I E T W O low D. New line.
All right, so either I can't count or I have a reason for writing these lines out of order. Hopefully, you're assuming the latter, not the former, but do what you do. In this case, we do have a reason for putting these out of order. I want to show you some basic editing functions inside of this file. You might want to, say, delete something that you wrote. You might want to copy to the clipboard and move it somewhere else entirely. The clipboard being kind of a temporary piece of storage where text that you want to move can reside. So in this case, what I want to do is I want to go up to...
This is line 2.
This is line 2. I pressed .4 chord to get there. Let's do a 3/6 chord.
.6.
All right, so we are on the .6, and current word says...
This.
That was .25 chord. Okay. So now we are at the start of the line that I want to move. There's a couple ways we can do this. First thing we're going to do is introduce you to the delete menu, which you can get to with D chord.
Delete menu opened.
All right, so this menu gives us a choice of what do we want to remove from this file. As with other menus, we can just use space or .4 chord to go forward, backspace, which is .7, or .1 chord to go back. So let's go forward.
Delete character. Shortcut is C.
Delete character.
Delete word forward. To start of next word. Shortcut is W. Delete word backward. To start of current word. Shortcut is B. Cut line, or marked region. Shortcut is L. Cut to end of file. Shortcut is Z. Set or remove mark. Shortcut is M. Copy line, or marked region. Shortcut is K. Undo. Shortcut is U. Redo. Shortcut is R. Delete character. Shortcut is C.
All right, so we've got a few options here. We're not going to go through all of them. So let's just start with a real basic one. I just want to delete the line. So I can either go to line and press enter, or as we heard, the shortcut was L. So let's press L.
Cut 15 characters.
All right, so we heard cut 15 characters. If I do a C chord now, we're back in the editor. The menu is automatically closed for us. What do we hear?
Blank.
We hear blank because we're now at the end of the file. We deleted that last line. But if we do a .1 chord, we should hear this is line 3.
This is line 3.
And before that,
This is line 1.
this is line 1. All right, so we're going to go back down with .4 chord.
This is line 3.
This is line 3. Let's verify that we are currently on the word this.
This.
Okay, so what I want to do now is put that line that we deleted, which remember was this is line 2, right here. So to do that, we will paste the content of the clipboard. Pasting is the opposite of cutting. So instead of removing something from the document, we're putting something back into it. To get to the paste menu, we can press P chord, P for paste.
Paste menu, opened.
Okay, let's see what we have here with the spacebar to go forward.
Editor clipboard, shortcut is E.
Editor clipboard, and this is what we're going to choose because that's where our line 2 currently lives. But we've got a few other options here.
Date, shortcut is D.
Date,
Time, shortcut is T.
time,
Calculator result, shortcut is C.
calculator result,
Gregorian date result, shortcut is G.
Gregorian date result, that's a feature of the calendar.
Stopwatch reading, shortcut is S.
Stopwatch reading,
Editor clipboard, shortcut is E.
and back to editor clipboard. So you can see that there is a way to get data out of some of our apps straight into your editor if you need to take down a note. Maybe you need to get the current time. Maybe you're logging something. Or you calculated something with a lot of digits in it. You don't want to have to remember what those digits were from the calculator. You can paste that result immediately into the document. And same with stopwatch reading and so forth. So here we are back on editor clipboard. That's what I want. I'm going to hit enter.
Paste 15 characters.
And now we heard paste 15 characters. So now let's do a C chord.
This is line 3.
We're on this is line 3 because we're at the end of where that text had been pasted. So our cursor is still where we had it. But now if we go up with dot 1 chord,
This is line 2.
we hear this is line 2.
This is line 1.
This is line 1. All right. Our document is now in the order that we want it. We have line 1, line 2, and line 3. I'm going to go to the end of the document.
End of file.
And we should be on a blank line. Let's do C chord.
Blank.
And we are. So let's say, all right, this was hard work, and I want to make note of the time that this occurred. Let's just write something simple like, I finished at,
Dot 6. I. F. Low I. I. S. E. D. A. T.
I finished at, and again, I was typing this in contracted unified English Braille because the editor understands that. I want to paste the time. I don't have to go look up the time. I can with either O chord T.
Options menu. Time 2:05 p.m.
2:05 p.m. I could also do space .8 and T or T8 chord.
2:06 p.m.
Now it's 2:06 p.m. And I could write that, but I don't have to. We can Z chord out of the options menu
Test BRL is open.
and do a P chord
Paste menu. Opened.
and press T for time.
Editor 2:06 p.m.
2:06 p.m. So now if I do a C chord,
I finished at 2:06 p.m.
I finished at 2:06 p.m. How snazzy is that? Now let's say maybe I only want the first line of this document to still hang around. We could either manually delete lines, or we could delete just from our position to the end of the file. I'm going to do dots 1, 2, 3 chord just to go to the top because it'll be faster to get there.
Top of file.
C chord says,
This is line 1.
this is line 1. Let's go down a line with dot 4 chord.
This is line 2.
And I'm going to do a D chord for the delete menu.
Delete menu. Opened.
And in this case, we want to do all. So we can go to all, or I know that the shortcut is Z, and I'm going to press that.
Cut 56 characters.
Got 56 characters. All right, so now our file, let's go to the top.
Top of file.
C chord,
This is line 1.
dot 4 chord,
Blank.
blank, dot 4 chord again.
End of file.
So everything else we just wrote is gone. Now, okay, maybe I really didn't mean to do that, or I have some regrets about deleting all of my hard work. Well, we can bring it back, simple enough, with the undo option, which again, under the delete menu with D chord,
Delete menu. Opened.
press U for undo.
Undid cut.
Undid cut. So now if we go to the top,
Top of file. This is line 1.
C chord says this is line 1, and do we have the rest?
This is line 2.
Why, yes we do.
This is line 3.
All right, so now we know how to access items from the delete menu and remove pieces of text. And I should mention this, and maybe I just assumed that it was obvious, but in case it's not, The way this editor works is that you can make text additions anywhere inside the file. So what I mean is that if you start typing, wherever your cursor happens to be is where that text is going to be inserted. And if you want to just backspace or delete character by character, you can do that simply by pressing .7. To demonstrate that, let's go to the top of the document with 1, 2, 3 chord.
Top of file.
So we have,
This is line 1.
this is line 1. Let's say I just want to delete the word line and replace it with the word document. I'm going to do .5 chord.
Is line
Here's line. I'm going to do .5 chord one more time.
1.
So the quicker way to delete that word would have just been to do a D chord W when we were at the line, but let's do the manual way. So we're just now past the word line. I'm going to do .7.
Space. E. Low I. L.
So the word line has been removed. Now I'm going to type
T. O. C. U. Dots 5 6. T.
C chord will verify if we typed what we think we typed.
This is document 1.
Okay, so line is gone, document is there,
This is line 2.
and we still have line 2
This is line 3.
and 3. All right, so let's say that I want to find the word finish, but I don't know where that word happens to be in my document. Well, we can take the long way around and look for it, literally by going through the file line by line, word by word, whatever. Or we can use the editor's built-in find facility to help us out. To do that, let's go to the top of the document with 1, 2, 3 chord,
Top of file.
and we're going to do F chord for find,
Enter text to find L9E.
and we heard enter text to find L9E. That was me looking for the word line earlier, just as a test. We already have a couple things that say line, so let's jump down a bit farther. I'm going to type the word finish, and this has to be dot for dot what is in the file in order for the search to work correctly. So the find feature is going to speak as if we're writing computer braille. You can ignore that. I'm going to type finish, which is F,
F.
low I, which computer braille will be pronounced as a 9,
9.
I,
I.
and then SH, which is a percent sign that vocalizer doesn't speak. Enter to execute the search.
Enter text to find L9E. F9I.
And we heard the prompt sort of appear, but then disappear. C chord will tell us where we are now in the file. So let's press that.
I finished at 2:06 p.m.
And here we are. I finished at 2:06 p.m. Current word says
Finished.
finished. So we're actually on the word finished. Okay, let's make another file, and you'll see why we're doing this in just a second. So back to the options menu with O chord,
Options menu. Opened.
F for file,
Listing for home pie.
and then C to create another document.
Enter file name.
And we'll call this notes.brl.
N-O-T-E-S-B-R-L.
Again, remember, if you're in computer braille, the period is dots 46, which is what I've typed. So notes 46 BRL. Press enter.
Notes BRL is open.
All right, so let's say, just for the sake of example, I'm now in a document where I'm taking notes on something. Maybe it's a book I'm reading or a lecture. So we can start off our document with
Dot 6. N-O-T-E-S. 4.
notes for
Dot 6. B-T.
BT
Dot 6. S-P. Loa. K.
speak.
New line.
Now that we have some text in this document, how do I get back to the one I was in before? Well, we could go the long way, go back to the options menu, file, and open our test document again, but we don't need to. The file is still open in the editor, and the editor can hold seemingly endless number of files open at a time. If I want to go to the previous document in what the editor refers to as the ring, I can press dots 2, 3, 7 chord.
Test BRL is open.
And we heard test BRL is open. If I wanted to go to the next document, I can do dots 5, 6, and 8 chord.
Notes BRL is open.
Notes BRL is open. If I do dots 5, 6, 8 chord again,
Welcome screen is open.
this is still open.
Test BRL is open.
And we cycle back around. So let's say I wanted to copy some notes about the welcome screen. I can jump between that and my notes, or I can jump between the test document and my notes, whatever I want to do. If I want to copy information from one document to another, I can. It's all very seamless here. As one final example in the editor, let's say I want to copy just an arbitrary amount of text from one file to another file. By arbitrary, I mean some length of text that's not just one line or one word or one character. I want to tell the editor where to start and where to stop. To do that, we have to use what is called setting a mark. So this basically works as follows. You'll set the mark, which says this is where one end of my selection is going to be. It doesn't have to be necessarily the start or the end. It can be either one. You then want to move your cursor to the position where you want the other end of that selection to be. Again, start or end doesn't matter. For this example, I want to copy, not cut, but copy the last 2 lines of my test document to my notes. I'm going to go to the top of the document here.
Top of file.
1, 2, 3 chord and dot 4 chord.
This is line 2. This is line 3.
All right, so we're at line 3. So we can either set a mark by going to the delete menu with D chord and then pressing M for mark, or I can press M chord.
Mark set.
Either way, you'll hear mark set. Okay. One end of my selection has been marked. Now I'm going to go to the end of the document.
End of file.
With 4, 5, 6 chord. Now I want to copy that range of text from my mark position, which remember was the start of line 3, to the end of this file, where I am now. To do that, we'll go to the delete menu with D chord.
Delete menu, opened.
And this time we want to press the letter K. So L would delete the line or a marked region. K will not delete that marked region, but it will copy it to the editor clipboard. And that's what we want. So let's press K.
Copy 41 characters.
Copy 41 characters. Okay, now that is in the clipboard. Let's press dots 5, 6, 8 chord.
Notes BRL is open.
And here we are in our notes file. Let's see what the current line is.
Blank.
All right, it's blank. I did that with C chord. Now I want to paste the editor clipboard with P chord.
Paste menu, opened.
And then E.
Paste 41 characters.
So you heard that we copied 41 characters from the test file, and we just pasted 41 characters into the notes file. So let's go to the top of the notes file with 1, 2, 3 chord.
Top of file.
And let's do ER chord to hear everything that's here.
Notes for BT Speak. This is line 3. I finished at 2:06 p.m.
And there you have it. So we've copied that information from file to file, and everything is here ready for us to either continue working or finish up. So let's say we are super paranoid. We want to save our work as we go. We can do that with O chord.
Options menu, opened.
F for file.
Listing for home pie.
And press the letter S for save.
Notes BRL is open.
And we heard Notes BRL is open. So that took us back out of the file menu automatically. What this does is it wrote the content of our notes file to the BT Speak storage, but it also left the document open. So in case we want to continue editing it, we can. If we were done with this file, but we also wanted to save it at the same time, we could leave the file, O chord F and L.
Options menu. Listing for home pie. Welcome screen is open.
And what that did was it also saved the file, but then it closed it. And it opened up the next file that was in the editor ring, which in this case was the welcome screen. So let's do a .568 chord just to go to the next file.
Test BRL is open.
Which will be our test BRL file. I'm going to save this.
Options listing. Test BRL is open.
I did O chord FS. I'm just going to go to the top of the document.
Top of file.
D chord.
Delete menu. Open.
Z for all.
Delete character. Shortcut is C. Blank.
And everything is gone.
Top of file. End of file.
I did a .1 chord, .4 chord. And let's say I'm going to start over. This is another test.
.6 TH I S A N O the R T E S T low D new line. This is another test.
You know what? I don't want to save this. I just want to quit this file and go back to whatever I had actually saved before. We can do that with O chord F.
Options menu. Listing for home pi.
And then the letter Q for quit.
Welcome screen is open.
So now we only have one file open. If I do .568 chord.
No other open files.
No other open files. And to verify that our test document has survived unscathed from my remorseless edits, we can go back to the file menu with O chord and F.
Options menu. Open. Listing for home pi.
And I know it starts with T. We can either use .1 and 4 chords or space, backspace, whatever, to move between the files. But if I know what letter a document starts with and I want to jump straight to that, we can use .7 along with whatever letter, and that will take us immediately to the first item that matches. So right now, if I do a .4 chord,
BT speak, directory, 1 of 15.
I'm at BT speak, which starts with B. And I can either wrap around, go up with .1 chord, or all the way down until I get to test BRL. But in this case, I'm going to hold down .7 and the letter T.
Templates, directory, 12 of 15.
Okay, so here's templates. That's actually the first item here that starts with T. Let's do it again.
Test BRL, 13 of 15.
Here's test BRL. Press enter to open it.
Test BRL is open.
All right, let's go to the top of the document, make sure that our previous work is still here.
Top of file.
C chord says.
This is document 1.
This is document 1.
This is line 2.
This is line 2.
This is line 3.
This is line 3.
Blank.
Blank, and
I finished at 2:06 p.m.
All right, everything is here just as we had it before. Fantastic. So we're done with this file. In fact, we're done doing things in the editor for now. So what we're going to do is go back to the file menu.
Options menu. Listing for home pi.
And we're going to go ahead and close this.
Welcome screen is open.
With L for leave. Let's go back to the file menu.
Options menu. Listing for home pi.
Now recall earlier we heard things called directories. Directories, think of them as filing cabinets or individual file folders where you can begin organizing where things go. You might have a location for videos or music or downloads or documents. Well, how do we make our own directories? We can do that by pressing the letter N for new directory.
Enter directory name.
We did that. We heard enter directory name. And I'm going to type the word stuff. Now, with directories, you can call them anything really that you like. There's no special suffix you have to add. You don't have to add the .brl or brf if you want to have Braille files. That doesn't apply to directories. So we're just going to type the word stuff.
S-T-U-F-F.
And press enter.
Stuff, directory, 12 of 16.
And now we have a stuff directory, which has nothing in it, but it's about to. Let's put some stuff in the directory. We want to move our test and notes file that we just made just to keep things organized. So how do we move things from one location to another? First, move to the item that you want to move. In this case, we want to go to the test file first because it's closer. So I'm going to do space.
Templates, direct test BRL, 14 of 16.
All right. And here we are. Now we want to mark this as something that we want to move. So I'm going to do that by pressing the letter X. Think of X as making a check mark. You're adding a check mark to things you want to perform some kind of action to. So that's 1, 3, 4, 6.
Selected. 14 of 16.
And now we hear that it's been selected. Let's then go to notes. Again, I can use chords or space, whatever, to get to it. But I'm going to do the shortcut here. .7 and N to take us to the first thing that starts with N.
Notes BRL. 8 of 16.
Which happens to be my notes file. So let's press X again.
Selected. 8 of 16.
And that's now selected. We now have 2 items ready to do things to. The final step is to navigate to the place where we want to either move or copy these selected items. I'm going to do .7 and S. That should take us straight to the Stuff folder.
SD card. Directory. 11 of 16.
I was wrong. That took us to the SD card, but that's okay. Space.
Stuff. Directory. 12 of 16.
There's Stuff. Press Enter to open the Stuff directory.
Listing for Home Pi Stuff. Directory is empty.
We hear that the directory is empty. Not a problem. We're now where we want to move the files. I'm going to press the plus sign, .3, 4, 6.
Shall the selected files be deleted from Home Pi?
The items you selected are going to be copied to your current location no matter what. But in addition, they can also be deleted from the original folder. So effectively, if we were to say, no, we don't want the original files to be deleted, we'd now have 2 copies of test and notes. One in the home directory where they were created, and another here in Stuff. If we answer yes, which is what I'm going to do by pressing Y, it's only going to leave the copies of the files in Stuff and delete them from home. So let's press Y.
2 files moved from Pi to Stuff.
And we hear 2 files moved from Pi to Stuff. Let's press Enter.
Listing for Home Pi Stuff.
Now if I do space.
Notes BRL. 1 of 2.
Notes BRL.
Test BRL. 2 of 2.
Test BRL. Fantastic. If we do a .7 chord.
Stuff. Directory. 11 of 14.
Let's see if we have test or notes in our main directory here. I'm going to do space.
Templates. Directory. USB 1. Directory. 13 of 14.
Okay, test is gone. Do we have anything starting with the letter N? We do not. That beep means that there is nothing that matched .7 and N. So notes is, in fact, gone. The final operation I want to show you is how to delete something. Fairly straightforward. Let's go back to Stuff.
Templates. Stuff. Directory. 11 of 14.
I did .1 chord there. Enter.
Listing for Home Pi Stuff.
I don't like my notes file. Let's just get rid of it. So I'm going to hit the spacebar.
Notes BRL. 1 of 2.
Here's notes. To delete a file, or a directory for that matter, press the letter D.
Shall file notes BRL be deleted?
And we are asked, do we want it to be deleted? I'm going to press Y.
File notes BRL has been deleted.
And press Enter.
Test BRL. 1 of 1.
And now we hear test BRL 1 of 1. So notes is gone. The same also applies to a directory. The only difference here is that if a directory is not empty, you will be asked if you want to delete it first. We can demonstrate that. I don't actually want to keep stuff around anymore.
Stuff. Directory. 11 of 14.
Press D.
Shall directory stuff be deleted?
I'm going to press Y for yes.
Directory not empty, delete anyway?
We hear directory not empty, delete anyway. Yes.
Directory stuff has been deleted.
And it's gone.
Templates. Directory. 11 of 13.
There's one other menu I want to show you related to this, and that is the file management menu. So this entire time we've been in the file browser. The shortcut commands are the same pretty much in both. The difference is that in the file browser, you're navigating through the file system itself, through files and directories. In the file management version of this menu, you are navigating through all possible commands that you can use on a file or directory. There's a couple ways to get there, If you are coming straight from the options menu, you can press M for file management, but since we're already in the file menu, I can press M to go straight there.
File management menu, opened.
So now we're in the file management menu. So now if I navigate with space,
Open existing file, shortcut is O. Create new file, shortcut is C. Save current file, without leaving it, shortcut is S. Leave current file, saves changes, shortcut is L. Quit current file, without saving changes, shortcut is Q.
so these are all the same actions that we just looked at. Anything that you want to do, you can either press those same shortcuts that we did in the file menu, or press enter on any of these items to activate them. If you want to get back to the file browser, it would be O-Chord F. If you're already in the file management menu, which we are, we can press F from here to go back to the file browser.
Listing for Home Pi.
So this kind of gives us the best of both. You have a listing of files and directories that you can navigate if you want, but you can also quickly jump to the list of available commands to perform on a file. And of course, H-Chord
File management help.
will open the file management help, and you can read more about these operations there. I'm going to do Z-Chord
Listing for Home Pi.
and Z-Chord again.
File browser, shortcut is F.
The final thing that we want to show you in this Getting Started guide is how do you listen to media, whether it be music or online radio, Pandora if you're inside the United States. The BT Speak has you covered. So we're still in the top level of the options menu. We want to actually go up to applications, which we haven't really explored yet. So let's press A to go into applications.
Applications menu, opened.
And that gives us a listing of some categories that are available here.
Personal, shortcut is P.
The personal menu is where you will find the calendar, the phone book, and the voice notes recorder.
Media, shortcut is M.
Media, this is the menu that we want. We'll get back here in a moment, but this is where you have your media controls to play or pause, go back and forth, turn volume up and down, all that good stuff, as well as accessing the media browser, the radio tuner, and Pandora, again, if you are in the United States. Space again.
Reference, shortcut is R.
Reference is where you will find the online dictionary as well as the utility to look up the weather.
Web, shortcut is W.
Web is where you will find a few options, including the application for ChatGPT, which is called AI Chat, as well as some utilities to search the web and a basic text web browser. If you want to really do a lot of web-based operations, you're going to be better off using desktop mode, which is not going to be covered in this guide, but it will in a separate topic.
Specialized, shortcut is S.
And then we have Specialized, which holds the applications for BT Learn. That's the Braille training tutorial application that's included. A program to play Morse code. You can type some characters and hear what they sound like in Morse code if you're so inclined. And an application to read the King James Bible. And finally, we have
Games, shortcut is G.
We have some games installed. There's Blackjack, there's Hangman, and a few other classic text adventure type games that have been around for many decades. It seemed like a good idea to include them on the BT Speak. So those are the applications that are pre-installed here on the traditional mode side, which is what we've been exploring today. Let's go back to media.
Personal, shortcut, media, shortcut is M.
Here's media. Press enter.
Media applications menu, opened.
And I want to go down to the radio tuner.
Media controls, media files, radio tuner, shortcut is R.
Press enter here.
Radio tuner menu, opened. Listen to a station, prompts for its name, shortcut is L. Browse stations by location, shortcut is B. Favorite stations, shortcut is F. Blindness community stations, shortcut is C. Refresh the station database, takes a while, shortcut is R. Listen to a station, prompts for its name, shortcut is L.
So we've got a few options here. If you know the name of the station you want to listen to, you can try typing it in here. You can also browse by your location, or you can look through some preset stations. The BT Speak includes links to online radio stations that are owned and operated by the blind. So if you have a blindness radio station favorite, it may already be available here on the BT Speak. If it's not, let Blazy Technologies know, and that can be remedied. Once you find a station that you like, you can also add it to your favorites, and then you don't have to go look for it again. All you have to do is bring up your favorites and browse straight to it. So let's listen to a station with L.
Enter the station's name.
The station that I want to listen to is Antioch Old Time Radio out of Antioch, Illinois. And I can never remember how to spell Antioch, so I'm going to type OTR into the search.
O-T-R.
And press .8.
Station index, OTR, opened.
All right, so here's a station index of anything that matched OTR. So let's go see if we can find it. I'm going to do space.
1940s Radio Home Service UK 1940s
Nope.
America's OTR Gunsmoke. Antioch OTR.
There's Antioch OTR. It's the station I want. All right, so before I press enter, I want to tell you how you can immediately pause a station if something happens to be too loud and you get disoriented and can't hear your speech. You can use .1, 2, 5, 6 chord or an OU chord. We might not need to do that. I don't remember where I had my media volume set, but if yours is really loud and you need to pause whatever you're listening to, now you know how to do it ahead of time. So we are on Antioch OTR. I'm going to press enter to start playing it.
Stream actions. Antioch OTR, open.
And here's the end of an episode of Suspense. Wonderful.
Suspense is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's script was written by Larry Marcus.
Good for them.
Music was
All right, so I just did the .1, 2, 5, 6 chord to pause. We're now in a menu of actions we can take about the current stream. So let's see what we got. Spacebar.
Decrease the media volume. Shortcut is.
All right, so we don't hear the shortcut name. Again, this is because Vocalizer doesn't automatically speak punctuation marks. But the shortcut in this case is the left parenthesis in computer braille. That's .1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
Increase the media volume. Shortcut is.
The shortcut for increasing the volume is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or the right parenthesis.
Pause, resume this stream. Shortcut is P.
So we can pause or resume, which is P.
Metadata for this stream. Shortcut is M.
We can see the metadata. Basically, if the streaming provider gives information about, say, the title of a song or the artist, any of that kind of stuff, you'll be able to view that here.
Description of this stream. Shortcut is D.
You can get a description of the stream if one's been provided.
Add to favorites. Shortcut is A.
Add to favorites. Shortcut is A.
Remove from favorites. Shortcut is R.
Shortcut is R to remove from favorites.
Vote for this station at Radio Browser Info. Shortcut is V.
So you can vote for the station at radio-browser.info. That is the service we're using to collect the addresses of these streams. As part of that, if you like a station and you want to vote for it, you can do that straight from your BT Speak.
Decrease the media volume. Shortcut is.
And now we've wrapped back around to decrease media volume. So let's go ahead and hit P to resume playback. And I'm going to turn the volume down just a little bit more.
Pause, resume this stream. Shortcut is P.
So I'm going to do left parentheses, dots 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 a few times.
Decrease the left, decrease the media volume. Short.
Now you can hear it's much quieter than it was. We can turn it back up a little bit.
Increase the media.
Right parenthesis.
Pause, resume this stream.
And
Shortcut is P.
And we paused the stream with P in this case. So what's nice about this is you don't have to stay in the media browser to listen to something. You can be anywhere else in the system. So if I wanted to turn on some music, listen to some old-time radio or the news or whatever, I can do that and then go back to whatever else I want to do with my BT Speak and just have this going in the background. The final thing I want to do here is I don't want to have to keep searching for Antioch OTR, anytime I want to listen to it, I want to just add this to my favorites. So let's hit A.
Add to favorite. Already a favorite station.
And what do you know? I outsmarted myself. I added this already when I tested this feature a few weeks back. But if it weren't in my favorites, it would be now.
Add to favorites. Shortcut is a.
And if for some reason I decide I want to remove it, I can hit R.
Removed from favorites.
And now it's gone. Press enter.
Removed from favorites. Shortcut is R.
But I want to add it back.
Add to favorite. Station added to favorites.
And there we go.
Add to favorites. Shortcut is a.
And I'm pressing enter to dismiss those particular prompts. So let's go up a level here with Z chord.
Antioch OTR.
Z chord again.
Listen to a station. Prompts for its name.
Okay, so
shortcut is L.
Now we are back in the main radio browser menu. I can hit F to go straight to anything I've marked as a favorite.
Favorites. Favorite radio stations. Opened. Antioch OTR. Shortcut is a.
Antioch OTR is the only thing in here at the moment. So if I press enter.
Stream actions. Antioch OTR. Opened.
And there we go. The station's playing. They play classical music in between shows to fill time in case there might have otherwise been dead air.
Pause. Resume this stream.
And we
Shortcut
pause
is P.
The stream with P. All right, we're going to go back to the editor. I don't want to back out through all of the options, so I'm going to use our deep escape shortcut with Z7 chord.
Welcome screen is open.
And here we are back in the welcome screen. I want to tell you about all of the available shortcuts that you can press from anywhere inside the BT Speak. Some of these we've introduced before, some we have not, but here's everything available right here, right now. And note that if you want to review any of this information, it's all available in the command summary, which you can get to from the help index. That was the O chord H. So without further ado, here we go. So first we have dots 7 and 8, which interrupts speech. Z chord will exit the current menu level. Z7 chord will exit directly back to the editor. We also call that deep escape. H chord will bring up the context-sensitive help for the application that you're in. 156 chord, that was WH chord, will tell you where you are. For example, the name of the current menu or command, or if you're in the editor, the name of the active file. D8 chord will say the current date. T8 chord will say the time. 348 chord, or ST8 chord, if you want to think of it that way, will say the current battery status, including whether it's being charged. R chord will enter the review mode. We haven't talked about that. That's part of Braille TTY, which is the screen reader that's powering the BT Speak. S chord will enter the speech settings menu. 2356 chord will say the current master volume level. 23567 chord will decrease the master volume level. 23568 chord will increase the master volume. 23568 chord will reset the audio output device to the internal speakers. Also sets the master volume level back to 60%. And it changes the text-to-speech engine to eSpeak. So if you suddenly lose audio, the first thing to try is to press this 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 chord. It's basically everything on the keyboard except for dots 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 chord will decrease the media volume. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chord will increase the media volume. 1, 2, 5, 6 chord, remember, pauses or resumes any media playback. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 chord will go to the previous media track. So if you've queued up a folder to play in the media player, that'll go to the previous item. 1, 2, 5, 6, 8 chord will go to the next media item. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 chord will restart the currently playing item. And the last two commands are those to go from traditional mode, which is what we've been in today, or desktop mode, which is something we have not gone into for this introduction. So to get to traditional mode from anywhere, is dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chord. And to get to desktop mode, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 chord. And you can switch between the two as you like. In fact, you can have media playing in traditional mode, go to desktop mode and say, bring up a web browser, edit an Office document, do your email, and you could jump back to traditional mode to maybe take some notes, do some calculations, whatever. You can jump between the two as you see fit. So those are the global commands as of the time I'm recording this, which is August of 2024. If curious, always check the BT Speak documentation for the most current information. Well, congratulations. You've made it to the end. I want to wrap up with just a few notes on where to go from here. There's definitely much more to explore about the BT Speak. It's a very powerful device. There's a lot that it can do, but there's also a lot that it doesn't necessarily have to do. It's entirely up to you how you want to use your BT Speak. My advice is study the documentation for things that you want to learn as you want to learn them. Go at your own pace. If you haven't yet subscribed, I strongly suggest joining the BT Speak discussion group, and it includes users as well as BT staff members themselves who are all willing to help each other out, take feedback and suggestions, and it's generally a very friendly list to be on. If you're interested, you can subscribe by sending a blank email to btspeak, the plus sign, and then the word subscribe, at groups.io. You can also find this information on the Blazy Technologies website. If you need to reach Blazy Tech Support for any reason, there's a few ways you can do that. First is through email. The address is support@blazy, BLAZIE.net. The phone number in the United States is 1-772-214-1616. In the UK, you can dial 44-1642-929-747. And of course, the Blazy Technologies website itself is www.blazytech.com. Thanks for listening today. We hope that you found this useful. This production is owned and copyright 2024 by Blazy Technologies. I'm Stephen Clower. Thanks for listening.